football franchise, talking about that guy. Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always find the sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. My name is Nick Sigmund. With me, as always, is Tyler Gee and Jonathan Robertson. First week of football! So exciting. I'm not a very emotional person, but I was pretty
That's
excited.
Nicely, Nick.
Pretty
Nick,
excited yesterday. Might cry a little bit. The Buccaneers
just
won
take
a game.
moment. Just take a moment.
They won a game.
All underneath the big beard himself.
And they did it. 48 points. I actually figured out the Buccaneers have not scored 48 points since they beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl.
It's destiny. You heard it here
2002.
first. Nick's
They're
calling
going to
it.
the Super Bowl. It's actually going to be the Bucs and the Jaguars. You know, Florida rules all. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't.
All
I
right,
think if that happened, Florida would just secede from the United States.
Create
Just
their own
something
football
crazy.
league.
Yeah, I don't.
They have their own college teams. They don't need us.
Yeah, yes.
Well, they got
Accurate.
Miami.
They do have
they got
their
Florida
own college.
State.
All right, for those of you that are new listeners, this is not how we start off a show, but Nick is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. You can tell if you go on YouTube right now.
Fitzmagic.
He's wearing his Tampa Bay shirt. He has his Tampa Bay signed helmet.
I'm in Tampa Bay parking above me.
He is. I am unfortunately a Bears fan. I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
But I do want to talk about this. Jordan Howard has yet to drop a ball. He is 5 for 5. 5 targets, 5 catches. He got more balls than Tariq Cohen.
And I don't hear
night.
anyone talking about it. I don't hear it. We need to be talking about Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
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 All right, guys. Before we get into the news, just want to thank one of our sponsors, SportsSaberMetrics.net. It's a really good place to get all your daters.
Yep. Data.
And all your analytic needs.
Absolutely. So check them out.
Beautiful.
SportsSaberMetric.net. Let's get into the news.
The fantasy news.
The unending fantasy news.
Oh my gosh, there are so many injuries.
There's some.
I can't hold them all.
Okay.
So Delaney Walker, dislocated ankle with an associated fracture. He's out for the season.
Possibly. So that makes Juno Smith an interesting grab. We'll talk about him on the waiver wires.
Yeah, maybe.
But, you also got to tamper your expectations because Marcus Mariota is also dealing with injury.
This, to me, the Delaney Walker injury makes me more happy about Deion Lewis.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but just watching that game, and we'll get into it a little bit, but Derrick Henry did not look good.
No.
He didn't look terrible, but he looked like second fiddle to Deion Lewis. Like, he really did. Like, I was just like, ugh.
Maybe there's something the Titans know that we don't. They've been keeping Derrick Henry right there. So,
Maybe.
I mean, again, Delaney Walker is one of the top 5 tight ends for the past few years. He's usually pretty good. I mean, basically. So, those targets are going to have to go somewhere. And as long as Marcus Mariota is mediocre, I think it's okay to rely on
Jonathan's not saying anything because he's a
Corey
Titans.
Davis.
Well, he's a Cowboys fan first, but the Titans hold a second string to his
we
heart.
live close to them, so.
Yeah, we do. We live close to them. So, Jonathan, how do you?
Derrick Henry actually had a really good run yesterday. that was called back.
That's true.
Deion Lewis flashed in the passing game. Their whole run game was dismal to begin with. Let's not forget, Dolphins, first of all, have a pretty good defense, number one. Number two...
Well, they get a lot of practice usually.
Number two, you had Taylor Lewan who left because he got knocked unconscious. Jack Conklin still wasn't fully functioning. But, Derrick Henry had a great run that I can't remember. I don't think that it went for a touchdown. It might have.
But
I'm not
I mean,
sure.
did
But it
get
got called
for
back
holding?
because of a Delaney Walker hold, which it
Did
was
it-
not a hold. He was actually being held by the face
yeah.
mask, and they didn't call that at all.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry, he is a burst player. I still like Derrick Henry. I mean,
Moving forward, Deion Lewis, Derrick Henry. Go.
what is it?
Do you want Deion
Deion
Lewis, or
or
Derrick
Henry?
Henry?
Choose one.
I think Deion Lewis has more upside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he also has to say for floor if you're playing PPR. I mean, I think
Here's the
gonna catch
thing:
the
is
ball.
the Titans have lost their check down weapon. I like Jonnu Smith. I think he had 2 touchdowns last year, but they've lost their check down weapon in Delaney Walker. Enter in
could fit that
Deion
role.
Lewis.
That's why I feel better about Deion Lewis.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we got Doug Baldwin, MCL sprain, which is actually not the same knee as he had injured earlier in the
This
year.
is not good.
This is not. It doesn't make me feel good.
I will say who surprised me out of that, we'll talk a little bit about that more, is Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
Question mark.
I thought Brandon Marshall was dead. I mean, not literally dead,
Wow,
but
whoa.
football-wise dead.
Somebody just checked their lineup. They're like, wow. It's kind of hard to score points.
So, I mean, Doug Baldwin's out. You have Brandon Marshall, who I think is actually going to be the prime wide receiver there, looking at last game with Tyler Lockett and
And by the way, if you have Doug Baldwin, just hold on to him. Don't
Yeah,
trade
he's
him.
not out for
He's
the
not going to be
season.
worth anything. And for love of everything, too, we've always talked about this. Watch your waiver wire. If someone is just silly enough to drop Doug Baldwin, I doubt it, but there exists a world where that could happen. I think he's worth a roster spot. I mean, good gosh, guys, come on.
yeah.
I mean,
No, yeah.
he could miss more time, but
Depending on the bench, like I have a league, we have 4 bench spots. Yeah,
man,
they were like, if you have 4 bench spots, there's always someone on the waivers. I was like, yeah, that's the problem.
yeah, I want all these people.
Anyways, Greg Olson, I was actually watching this game, and I feel bad for saying it. I was happy. I was playing against the guy who had Greg Olson, and I was like, I'm
Which
glad
we
you're
don't want
out, but-
injuries to anybody, but we do want to win fantasy
yeah.
football.
So I saw him in a boot on
Das
crutches.
Boot? Das Boot?
It just kind of looked like he's twisted his ankle watching it.
I will say this, though. It is the same foot that he had surgery on last year.
Oh.
And it's also one of those injuries that oftentimes you'll have surgery on it, and you require a second surgery. Julio Jones went through the same thing. So keep your ear to the
And
ground.
he's not a young man.
Yeah, keep your ear to the ground. He may be done for the season. If I were to put my chips into a corner, I will say he's done for the season. I'm not
I
dropping
would
him
say
yet.
8 to 10 weeks minimum.
I'm
at
not
most.
dropping him. But yep.
Yeah.
I do want to talk real quick, just one quick second. I kind of disagree about Doug Baldwin. I think if you can have somebody come to you who's optimistic and says, look, I've read he's only going to be out 2 weeks, I'll trade you for him. And they'll give you fair price. Number one, if you're in redraft, trading. Number two, even in Dynasty, I still say trading.
I mean, if I can get the value that I expect out of Doug Baldwin, absolutely. I just don't know if anybody's doing that. I mean,
I'll go ahead and call it.
Are you going out and buying Doug Baldwin?
No.
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 So who? That's what I'm saying. Who is? I haven't seen any trades come across from him, and if they are, they're low ball sucker trades.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got a sore left knee still, which he said is going to be bothering him all year. The sprain is not just a sprain; it's a grade 2 sprain, which means that it's actually partially torn.
strong.
So I don't like him for the rest of the year.
No, I don't either. But I mean, it's also one of those things too that I will rather hold on to him in hopes and dreams than trade him for dirt.
That's fair.
After this week, I will have to say I've changed my mind. Just proposed to trade. If you sent me, I would try to get a little extra, but if you didn't give it to me, I'd be okay with it. I would probably take Nelson Aguilar for a Doug Baldwin in a redraft.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like it. It's
Oh,
hot.
Yeah.
It's hot.
So, okay.
Going on.
Next injury, Leonard Fournette. From what I've read, this is not serious. Hamstring injury.
Coach is saying it's not serious.
Yeah, whatever. But he's kind of injury prone. I mean, last year he had 1 or 2 weeks. This year,
I'm
1 or 2 weeks, maybe. We don't know.
I was going to say it. I'm salty. Actually, nay. I'm marinated. I've set in the salt that long. I am in I'm in a lot of leagues. One of the leagues I'm in is a family league. I expect to dominate this league. Okay? I lost this week. Now, before you're like, oh, well, get over it. This man's team was awful. Just terrible. I love you, Will. If you're listening, I love you, but your team sucks. No, you beat me, fair and square. This was his starting lineup, not because he's a truth seer, but because this is the best people he has. Ready? He played T.J. Yeldon.
Oh, my gosh.
He played Deshaun Jackson. He played Randall Cobb.
Oh, wide receiver. Oh, man.
He played, hold on, I'm not done. There was one other one that was just like, you may be the only person that has played all of these people. Like, to where it was comical. Like, how many just stupid good players he played. Oh, he played Tyler Lockett. He played Tyler Lockett, Randall Cobb, Deshaun Jackson, T.J. Yeldon.
How do you have that as a team?
Like, that was his starting lineup. And so
Is
before
this a 15-person league or something?
No, it's 12.
I'm sorry, Will.
And here was my team. Alvin Kamara, Royce Freeman, Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen, Kenny Stills, Evan Ingram, Lamar Miller, and Russell Wilson. And he still beat me. Because, everyone knew Deshaun Jackson was getting 36 points this week. Everybody knew that Randall Cobb was getting 34 points this week. Everyone. T.J. Yeldon was going to get, 17 points because Leonard Fournette was going to get down. I'm bad. I'm past salt.
Okay. So.
Like, I just keep looking at the lineup. I'm like, who plays these people? Like, I was waiting to see Ryan Fitzpatrick as quarterback and just be like, what?
Yeah, I think I had this thing. I had Tyreek Hill on one of my teams, and I played against Tyreek Hill in another league.
Oh.
And I was like, please do good, but not too good.
You hate those moments where, like, okay, I've had this happen before. I'm looking at leagues. All right, I need 12 points out of this player, but not 14. If he gets 14, I lose in this league. But if he gets 12, I win in this one.
Hit the sweet spot.
And I think I had one moment he was at 12 and a half, and I was sitting there like just holding on, and the ball like came to him and he dropped it. I was like, oh, thank God. I've never rooted for somebody and hated them all at the same time.
So moving on, Marquise Goodwin from the 49ers has a right quadricep contusion.
My boy Pettis. We've been talking about him all year, boy.
You should be expected. He'll probably be out week 2, more than likely.
Just keep your ear. It's kind of like he came back in, but he hurt it again. The hurt when he came back out the second time, I was like, okay, he can't play on it. That's not good.
I need to make a track for Kiss from a Rose. Jeremy Hill has an ACL tear. He's out for the season.
Yep. Nick, you really need to start getting on this soundboard thing, man.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
My dream is to have a really good soundboard, and you're depriving me from it.
So I think Jeremy
Which,
Hill
by the way,
affects...
did you see that awesome animation we have at the beginning of YouTube? Oh, it's so sexy now. We're just moving up in life.
Are we, though? are we really moving anywhere in this huge galaxy?
I guess we are. Yes, our Earth is technically in a trajectory. The universe is expanding. Anyways.
Injury scares Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, we saw he got out, and then he came back.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not sure if he necessarily should have came back. I know he won the game, but we're going to move on real quick from this. I don't want to kill Tyler. Mike Evans had a slight injury scare, but he went back into the game again, so we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if he was out a week to recover from whatever, but he may just be fine. May just got hit
He
too
may
hard.
be. I'm on the side I think he's fine, but I think just watch it. But all those, that's pretty much that's the injuries. Big ones. They're big ones that hurt. But we're gonna get into this whole episode. We are trying to get into, not a game by game. Okay, you all have seen the games.
I'm not going to get out a magnifying glass for you.
Okay, we're going to talk about what matters, the studs, the duds, the waiver wire pickups, what you need to know. Okay, what you need to know. Before we get into what you need to know, we need to talk about our newest sponsor. Our newest sponsor, guys, we are super excited. This is Sports Bracketeers. You may have not heard of them. That's wrong. You need to hear about them.
You're wrong.
And that's what we're here to do. Sports Bracketeers is a fantastic website. It's a DFS unlike any other. You know, they approached us, they came to us and said, hey, you know, we really like the podcast, we really like what you all are doing. And he was like, you know, give us a check out what we have. You know, see if you like what you see here, and maybe we can kind of team up together. And I was really excited because this is what it is. It's a daily fantasy sports company. But what makes them different is they have this bracket format, right? You know, not just the salaries and the draft and da-da-da-da. Users enter a contest in advance through a contest bracket by answering statistical questions head-to-head. Are you kidding me? We're a dynasty podcast. How many numbers do we throw out? We have sports sabermetrics. We talk about FF statistics all the time. Going head-to-head with a guy on numbers, deal. Okay?
Sold.
So you basically are trying to answer questions like how many yards will player X have in a game, okay? And not only is it a bracket-style contest, but it's the only one that does it in the same day. And the questions are answered before you start. They have a nice, you know, just like before the game start, basically, before the lineups. So it is daily. It's not something you have to do a bracket and you have to wait. Check out their website. Okay, check out their website. It is sportsbracketeers.com. Fantastic website, slick-looking website. It's on mobile. It's on, on the website. Check it out. Put in some money. I'm telling you, this head-to-head statistical contest, you all are going to win some money. You're going to have a great time doing it, and I think it's really fun and really interesting, and I think it appeals to, like, us type of players.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
really
different, and it's nice to have something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're looking at fantasy
So
stuff.
check it out, sportsbracketeers.com. Or, of course, you can also follow them at Sports Bracketeers. So,
The main event.
So I'm gonna say something real quick.
okay.
Kenny Stills.
Oh, my gosh.
Pick him up in the 10th round, guys. Just do it, guys. I swear. He'll be your guy, guys. Well, he's your guy. He went off. And I'm going to own it for the rest of the season. If this was his only game, I'm still proud.
Yeah, Kenny Stills. I will tell you this. I played Kenny Stills over Sammy Watkins this week.
Yes.
And I'm glad I did. And I did it. As I was clicking the move button, I went, Nick Sigmund! And like,
Just do it.
with the power of Greystone.
The power of Christ compels me.
Kenny Stills did fantastic. Let's talk a little bit more about some other games, though. Nick, what do you got for us?
Real quick, the Tampa Bay game, obviously, huge aerial attack going on there. Something really interesting that you all may not know about is that Dirk Cutter gave his offensive coordinator the power to call the plays this year.
Oh.
So you're seeing a different offense because there's someone else calling the plays. That means, so going forward, I think the offense will be more dynamic. Will it be as good as it was this week? No. There's no way they're going to have another 48-point game. It's just statistically not going to happen. Regression is coming. But it is something to think about. The other thing with this game is that Barber was not really great, but he wasn't terrible. He didn't score any touchdowns. He had 3.6 yards per carry.
He had 19 carries, man. Like, that's a lot. Like, he finished his running back, 27.
Yeah, he really didn't have any breakaways.
And, I mean, this is also before – we're recording this on Monday night because, unfortunately, hashtag our life. But, I mean, he finished as running back 27 as far as points go, fantasy points go. He had the 5th most carries on Sunday. I mean, it was James Conner, Adrian Peterson, Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller, then Peyton Barber had 19 carries for 69 yards. So you can say, well, maybe, they were throwing the ball a lot, which I agree with.
They were, but he had his chances.
I mean, he
had
more chances than Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Deion Lewis, Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt. I mean, he had chances.
I mean,
and he finished behind all those guys in yards.
We also drafted him to be running back 27.
That's true. So, I mean, he's getting volume. Maybe he can see the production.
Yeah. Another interesting fact about this one. Alvin Kamara had more receptions than he did rushing attempts.
Oh, he sucked at rushing yesterday.
He had the same rushing average as Peyton Barber at 3.6 yards per carry. The thing was, they were so far behind
they
the entire game.
They couldn't get anything going in a run game.
I
think they rushed, 13 times?
They rushed, total 13 times. Wow, that's nice.
Ooh. Jonathan
Mike
Robertson showed up.
Mike Gillisley ran 3 times and fumbled once. that return for a touchdown, but whatever.
All right, so let's move on. I mean, the only thing that I have a question of is, are you worried about the Saints' defense? Because
No.
I played the Saints' defense.
Well, they struggled last year at the beginning, but
That's true.
they continue
Opening.
to get better. Marshall Lattimore is way too good. I don't know if that's his first name. I don't remember. But Lattimore, he's a fantastic cornerback. But for some reason, he stopped Evans all last year. He did not
I really
stop
think
Evans this
too
weekend.
that I think the Saints almost did like what we did. They were looking at week 2.
Yeah,
I
this
don't.
is too easy.
I think that they just thought like we're going to show up, we're going to play Tampa. They got a backup quarterback. We're just going to do things and stuff, and it just didn't work out. So I don't think I'm dropping the Saints defense. We'll talk about that next week. Talk about streams or next episode. We have 2 episodes this week, so we'll talk next episode about our starts and sits and our streams and who we're playing. So
next thing to look at, San Francisco and the Vikings. Now the Vikings scored 24 points, which is good, but one of those was a defensive score. So this offense really only scored 2 touchdowns, and that's honestly a little concerning for me, being that I don't consider the San Francisco 49ers to be a top-level defense that should slow this kind of offense down. How do you all feel, or Tyler? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think that you also just still got some learning. I mean, Stephon Diggs looked pretty good. A touchdown, 6 targets. I'd like to see maybe a few more of those. I think that there's just some growing pains that are going on. I mean, Adam Thielen, though, that was the big takeaway for me. Although he didn't score a touchdown, he had 12 targets.
Yeah, he was targeted a lot.
Didn't work out on all of them. Actually, kind of a low catch percentage, only 6 catches on that. But what that tells me is that Kirk Cousins is looking to him. I think Stephon Diggs is that touchdown threat, but I think that Adam Thielen's going to be that volume.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs was actually targeted half as much.
Yeah, and for me in fantasy, and I don't want to. It's week 1, so I don't want to go too hot takey, but I like the guy with volume over the guy with touchdowns. Like Stephon Diggs will have games that he definitely dominates over Adam Thielen, but I feel like Adam Thielen's going to have that baseline.
Yeah, it's kind of like Demaryius Thomas. He'll get you 10 points every game.
Yeah, I mean just that.
So,
hit him with
Jonathan,
the base.
Going forward, do you want to start Dalvin Cook?
Sure.
I mean, because how it was split up this week is 16 carries for Dalvin Cook, 11 for Latavius Murray.
I worry about the injury. I think that they may be trying to kind of just work him in a little bit. Like they were talking about how his legs, and all that jazz. I worry that they were saving him on a, situation that they didn't necessarily have to have him. I will say what is concerning is with the 16 attempts Dalvin Cook had, he only had 40 yards. Yards per carry don't always denote fantasy success, but it does denote whether or not you get the rock. And San Francisco's not as. I mean, they have once again, defense has changed, so we're still kind of learning with you all. I mean, we're in the trenches with you. I just told you, hey, I started this people and I still lost to freaking Randall Cobb and T.J. Yeldon. So we're still in the trenches with you, still learning. But sorry, John, what were you going to say, brother?
I was going to say, Dalvin Cook, I mean, let's not get it twisted. San Francisco still has they have a decent defense.
They do.
They have a decent defensive line. I mean, Latavius Murray did have 11 for 42. But let's keep in mind, okay, so Dalvin Cook, 40 yards yesterday, so 4 points. He also had a lost fumble, which they probably pulled him a little bit from production because of that. But let's just say minus 2 points, depending on your league. So he's at 2 points right now. PPR league, he had 6 receptions, so that's 8 points right there now. And then he had 55 yards to the air, so we're talking about 13.5 points. So, I mean, he still produced. I mean, you add a touchdown to that, and he's one of the top-scoring running backs yesterday. I mean, Dalvin Cook's going to take a little bit to get into the game. Let's remember, how many games did he play last year? Not that many. So, I mean, to me, he's still a rookie. I mean, when it comes to experience. So, I don't know. Let's give him another game. I don't know who the Vikings play next week, but
we'll talk about it next episode. I don't want to go too deep into it. What else you got for us?
I don't know if we should talk about.
Well, let me talk. We'll talk about Pettis later.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know if we should talk about the Dallas-Carolina game or if that was a little too raw for you, Jonathan.
No, I mean, it's fair. I mean, we could not get anything on offense going. I mean,
I was watching. I was like, could some, like, both teams even? It was just like
we
punt,
talked
punt,
about it
punt,
last
punt,
game.
punt,
Our
punt.
last episode, we said that this will be a low-scoring affair. That I just don't. I mean, other than Zeke and Christian McCaffrey, like the people that you felt like, and Greg Olsen, and what was it?
Cam Newton almost
Cam
had
Newton?
as many carries as Ezekiel Elliott.
Wow. But I mean, other than starting your studs, I talked about that last week. I didn't see the upside. Both have pretty good defenses. Both are struggling offenses that I think are going to have to get it together a little bit. Like, I was starting Cam, I was starting Zeke, I was starting Christian McCaffrey. In the story.
I would like to point out here.
Well, Greg Olsen.
Cole Beasley was pretty good. He was targeted 8 times. He caught 7 of them.
for 73 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a potential player. I mean, you're talking about in the PPR league, he had, 14.3 points? I mean.
He's one of the only wide receivers that looks like that he was, like, a main target last year, too. Like, Terrence Williams is here, but he wasn't a main target for Dak last year.
Plus, he's a rapper. I mean, you got to grab him.
Exactly. 80 stings, man.
I mean, if you haven't found that out, he is a rapper.
But
so
I will say,
that's
like,
important.
defense-wise, both teams played great. I mean, even as a Cowboys fan, yes, keep playing Zeke, obviously. He did great yesterday.
You drafted him number 1.
Yeah, I mean, he still did well. And we're talking about they really didn't even run the ball really till the second half. But just monitor the Cowboys. I mean, I think that there's value to be picked there, but right now it's looking like Cole Beasley and Zeke are really the only two guys that I would be interested in. I think Michael Gallup will come to his own, but
yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I thought
monitoring.
Dak Prescott was going to come out a little stronger with his rushing attack. He's just, I don't know. He may come back into it again later on. We'll see. But again, yeah, like Jonathan said, monitor it. Next, Washington, Carolina. I just want to say I was wrong. I'm sorry, Adrian Peterson. I was wrong.
Washington and Carolina.
Or
We played
Cardinals,
two games yesterday. Wow, we really did suck.
Isaiah Crowell just scored a touchdown,
Oh,
Yeah, no.
man.
by the way.
Quincy Enunwa had a pretty good pass. Or a pretty good catch.
I was
I
going to
was
say,
like, man.
ooh, trick plays already.
Fancy.
So, Adrian Peterson, 26 carries. My gosh. 3.7 yards per carry, which is
he scored his
okay.
100th touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, yes, he did. He scored his 100th touchdown in his career. He also had 2 receptions for 70 yards.
Yeah, see, to me, that's the concerning part.
It's a little unsustainable.
I like Adrian Peterson. I think that he obviously is the running back to own there as far as carries go. Chris Thompson is obviously a pass-catching back. I mean, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 63 yards on a touchdown. So I think that they're both going to be good. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Adrian Peterson may be somebody I'd be looking to move for a good price. I think that his price is high, but I worry about at his age, can he keep this up?
Yeah, can he
I
sustain
thought
this
at
volume?
week 1 he's going to come out on fire because he's not worn down. He's ready to go, and I just worry that is he going to get 26 carries every game, and is he going to get? He got the touchdown and. I still think he's good, and where you drafted him, I think it's a steal. But if someone came to me with Adrian, I have Adrian Peterson. They came to me wanting him. I'm not saying no.
Yeah,
I'd take offers for sure.
I will say, I would hold him for another week, and it's gambling, but they're also going against the Colts next week.
Yeah.
and Joe Mixon just ran a train.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
them.
I would say
That
hold
sounds
on
gross.
to him. Let him play against the Colts because Arizona had a top 10 rushing defense last year.
All right, question. This is going to be rough. Adrian Peterson, you own him. Someone comes up to you with James Conner. Is that that's risky. I mean, I just thought about it because I'm just looking at the stat
Dynasty
lines.
or redraft?
In
redraft.
Dynasty, yes.
Redraft.
In redraft, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I want to do it, but, I mean, at the very worst, Le'Veon Bell's coming back week 10. I mean, so you have Connor for 10 weeks, but then you lose it if you're going to the championship.
And we're also thinking that Connor can sustain it. I mean, and he may be able to. But
I mean, the Browns don't have a bad rushing defense, or they didn't last year.
he may be able to sustain it, but I think the chances of Adrian Peterson sustaining it are better.
But both of them feel like they're on this little, like, this timeline. Adrian Peterson due to age and Connor due to Bell. But I don't know. It's something to think about. I lean to the Adrian Peterson side, but not by much. And that's, I mean, I think that there's a chance Le'Veon Bell plays next week. I mean, he starts seeing James Conner. I mean, yeah, they tied the Browns, but I mean,
at this point, he knows he's not going to play for the Steelers. He's saving his body for the next team.
And that could be true, too. So let's keep cruising.
So, no, we don't have to touch on that. David Johnson didn't do great, is what I was going to say, but that's partly because Washington had the ball for 40 minutes of the 60-minute game.
He did okay.
He did okay.
He did fine.
He was not David Johnson level that we want.
Well, and I think that the Arizona Cardinals are still getting together. I mean, you got to remember, new coach, new offensive coordinator. You've got a new quarterback. You've got Christian Kirk. I mean, David Johnson was gone for a year. It's just there's a lot coming together. I think that it will get better.
So the Seattle-Denver game. This is just weird. This was a weird game.
True.
Very weird.
Who's Philip Lindsay?
Somebody you need to pick up off of your waivers. That's what I'm going to say. We're going to talk about it later.
Yeah, Royce Freeman. I played him, and I was a little disappointed. 15 carries. Again, amazing average, 4.7 yards per carry. That's fantastic. But that's all he did. 7.1 points. And I should have played Stills over Royce Freeman. I thought Freeman was going to get a touchdown. Stills maybe not so much.
But let's keep in mind, I thought he was going to do good, and I still think that he performed well. He showed that he was a talented running back. He did split the backfield. I don't expect this Philip Lindsay to do it.
I don't know what
every
it is.
week. I don't expect that.
I like Lindsay. It's fancier.
Put a
I mean, realistically, though, here's the other thing to talk about. Philip Lindsay had the same amount of carries, the same amount of yards. Lindsay just also had 3 targets, 2 catches for 31 yards and a touchdown. So that was the difference between the two. I mean, both rushed the same amount.
I think that the Broncos knew that they could win the game by the air, so they went air. I mean, look what I called it last week. I said Emmanuel Sanders was going to be good.
2th by sea.
Exactly.
What's 3th by air? Is that what?
So,
Holy crap. Have you seen a picture of this Philip Lindsay guy?
Yeah, he's got nice hair, doesn't he?
His hair is out of control.
So the running backs for the Seattle Seahawks, I wouldn't put too much into this because the rushing defense for the Broncos is fantastic. The linebackers they have and the defensive line, don't put any weight into Rashad Penny only getting 1.1 yards per carry. He'll do better. This is just a fantastic defense to play against.
It's kind of disappointing because it was one of those things that I wanted to see how this kind of shook out. The only thing I will say is that, I mean, I thought Penny looked decent. He had that pass-catching role. I think that he didn't seem to be impaired by the injury.
Yeah.
And so that's concerning is that I feel like we all just kind of thought it was Chris Carson's backfield, at least for the first couple of weeks, because Penny was going to be out for blah, blah, blah. We didn't know how long, but we assumed it would be out for a while. And now he's not. Like, it's a split backfield, and somebody, I think, is going to win that.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see when you play against the Denver Broncos.
So I want to talk about one last game, and it's the Steelers versus the Browns. The first time,
man.
this is like the best game the Browns have had, or the best first game the Browns have had in
so
like 10 years or
stressed
something.
out, man.
So there's 2 things that I want to talk about. Carlos Hyde had a 2.8 yards per carry and 1 touchdown on 22 carries. He was the second worst at being stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage at 32% of the time. And this is Adam Spinks putting out the stat sheet. That's insane.
Yeah.
1/3 of the time he's going to lose or not gain anything.
Well, and I think a lot of it, too, could be maybe the Steelers' defense. I thought the Steelers' defense has always been one of those that is a little – it's not top end, but it's pretty good. And, who knows? I mean, it could get better. It could get worse. We'll see. I still think Carlos Hyde is the back to own there. I mean, he had 22 carries.
He is. It's just concerning to look at the Browns' offensive line. Like,
absolutely.
What are you guys doing here? The other thing, oh my gosh, Jarvis Landry got targeted 15 times. Oh man, is this guy a magnet? Is he just really good at route running?
It's Tyrod Taylor. I mean, Tyrod
Taylor
has always been use his legs, and he also likes those quick, not quick touchdowns, but just quick checkdowns, right? Well, at the Bills, it was what's his face, the tight end, Clay. Now it's Jarvis Landry. I mean, you also had David Njoku go down. That's a factor. I think that when that whatever goes down, I think that's something to talk about. 106 yards for Jarvis Landry. I mean, as of right now, like in that 23rd, wide receiver range.
He scored you 17 points this week in PPR, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean that's. And I said 23, but actually I was on the wrong.
I was a little
format.
upset we didn't see James Washington this week. He didn't even get targeted. He's a talented guy. I was hoping Big Ben would show him some love. We could see what he could do.
Well, we barely saw Antonio Brown. If it wasn't for one touchdown,
he got 16 targets.
I mean, but how many catches did he have?
9.
Yeah.
It was like,
How many yards did he have?
He had 93 and 1 touchdown.
I mean, it's not. I will give you yes. It is not a typical Antonio Brown.
No, his normal game is
take a
180
poop on the
yards,
floor.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis Landry was targeted just as much as OBJ, one underneath Antonio Brown. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Here's what's surprising. Corey Davis was targeted 13 times. I know we're not talking about that game, but that was the 6th most as of Monday night right now. So that's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
He only caught 6 balls, though.
And one more thing before we go on. Gore took snaps. He took a lot of snaps. He ran the ball.
I don't know. See, here's the frustrating part. For fantasy, though, Gore did take snaps. Here's the frustrating part.
You can't start him.
You can't start Gore. And, I mean, not only can you not start Gore, I think this just depreciates Kenyon Drake. I mean, that's all it does for me is it makes it to where – and I get it why Miami's doing. Both of them look good. But it's just for fantasy purposes, this does not increase Gore. It just brings down Drake for me.
And Kenyon Drake is the only player above Carlos Hyde in being stopped behind the line of scrimmage at 36%.
I will say, watching the game yesterday, all 23 hours of it, the announcers had a good point. They said in the second, I guess it was the second half, I don't know, we took so many half times.
There was a half somewhere.
They said when they were coming out, the Dolphins had such a commanding lead, and you could tell the defense was just owning them. And they were like, at this point, I say they hold back Kenyon Drake and just run Frank Gore. And
and that could be a factor. I mean, why hurt your star when I love Frank Gore, but I mean, if he gets banged up or if he gets injured, the Dolphins just keep moving on.
Kenyon Drake still performed well. I mean, he still had a great yards per carry. I mean, he was
decent. 3.4 is
okay.
Not,
last time I looked at it, I thought it was like 5.
No, 14 carries for 48 yards. I mean, that's not great. I also want to talk about this just very briefly. Is that Jordan Howard is looking good. Because you talked about Kenny Stills. I know that he didn't blow it up for you. He was, as of right now, running back 15. Green Bay Packers a pretty good defense. 15 carries, 82 yards. That's 5.5 yards per carry against. I think the Packers were trying to stop him pretty good. And I mean, and not to mention the 5 for 5, baby.
And they don't have a bad defense either. I mean, they got Clay Matthews.
But my thing is he got
linebacker.
in PPR, he got 15 points. You add a touchdown in there somewhere, just somehow. I mean, you didn't get a touchdown. You're talking about 21 points. I mean, you're talking about now a top 12 running back. I mean, like right now, Jay Ajayi, and I'm not trying to – I know that Jay Ajayi was a coin flip, but I mean, Jay Ajayi had 15 carries, same amount as Jordan Howard, but only 62 yards. No receptions.
Yeah, just the 2 touchdowns brought him up.
But the 2 touchdowns brought him up. And so now all of a sudden, people would say Jay Ajayi for Jordan Howard, and I'm on the Jordan Howard side of it. Now, I will say I think Jay Ajayi's next few weeks, these 2 coming weeks, is going to see a lot of volume. He's going to see a lot of touchdowns because what do they have?
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the studs and duds. Before we get into the studs and duds and waiver wires, we're going to talk about one of our sponsors, Holla Breaks.
Break it down now, y'all.
Place to get the newest memorabilia available, from recent signings and hot rookies to new products with classic players. First-round picks to the Hall of Fame standouts, the best products around are in the Hall. Daily chances to win prizes in a new series every week. Products from full-size replica and authentic helmets to minis in Blaze, Ice, Speed, and other popular styles. There is some risk involved in this game of chance, so be sure to read all the rules on the page or contact a page admin with any questions. Hall of Breaks is more than just a prize page. It's a community of dedicated collectors and lovers of the game.
Prizes are not guaranteed, but I'll tell you what is, having a lot of fun.
Yeah, get on
Every
on
time I
video.
do it, I have fun.
Look at our helmets.
Oh,
I
they're
have
so
a
beautiful.
signed old gay pirate foreign sap helmet. Like, come on, man. That's the stuff you can win. We call him the gay pirate. I love
know,
creamsicle
but old
uniforms.
man, I just can't. But yeah, if they're the only break page to do next day shipping, when you get that item, you're not running to wait. Who's to wait? This is the year of Amazon.
me.
Amazon 2-day shipping. Give it to me. Competitive pricing, best value, tamper-proof boxes, live drawings. Got to get on there. Check it out. Also, we thank him so much. We're giving away a Deshaun Watson mini helmet.
Ooh.
Sexy. I know he was struggling last week or this week, week 1, but I promise you he will get it together. And you know what you could get? That week 1 helmet,
For
that
free.
beautiful Deshaun, for free. All you got to do is follow us and subscribe.
Yeah, just there's a link
YouTube.
under here. You just on the podcast or the video, you just click it. It's a contest.
It's on
Gleam.
YouTube. It's on Twitter. Just look underneath it. There's a contest. Boom.
Yeah.
Easy.
So, all right, there's a few duds we're gonna talk about.
yeah. So let's talk about this.
Shane
Ready?
Bell.
We're not going to sit here and talk about every single game and go through it. You've seen the games. Do we have the Shane Bell?
No.
Oh my gosh, Nick, you are literally worthless. But we're not going to talk about every single game. We're talking about the ones that we care about a little bit. And then talk about the studs and duds of the week. Should we be concerned? Are we buying these people that are studs? Are we dropping these people that were duds? And then we're going to talk about the waiver wire. So we're going to try to go through these pretty quickly because we are running out of time. So, Nick, start us off. Let's give them what they need to know. What do they need to know?
What are we talking about?
The studs and duds, baby.
Oh, studs and duds. So,
Suds and bubs.
so Ronald. I mean, some people may have thought to start Ronald Jones. I wouldn't have, but you may, and
He was out.
you were disappointed. But honestly, looking at Barber, there's hope.
Yeah.
I think there may be hope for Ronald
he
Jones.
is one that he's injured. Check your waiver wires just in case he gets dropped or something silly. I would not.
With how much Peyton Barber was struggling, I don't think Ronald Jones playing it by the end of the year is out of the question.
Oh, quiz.
Jaquiz.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Tyler was on the Jaquiz train last year.
I got some Jaquiz Rogers in my deep
So-
dynasty benches. I'm waiting. Quiz.
Waiting for them Tampa Bay on.
Quasi. Meow. By the way, I recently bought the new Spider-Man game. It is fantastic.
So you're gonna let me borrow that, right?
Well, it's a digital download, so it's gonna be difficult.
You buy the. Dang it!
But let me tell you, it's so satisfying to kick somebody in the throat and just give them that meow.
Could you do that again?
Meow.
Okay.
Like, I literally picked up a trash can with my web and just hit it into this guy's freaking sternum.
So another player, Sammy Watkins. I mean, he was a dud. I mean, let's be honest. He had 3 catches for 21 yards. For someone that you're probably hoping he's your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, that's not going to cut it. Part of the problem though is that they were not on the field because Tyreek Hill got him off the field. He got him off the field real quick.
I'm not giving up on Sammy, but I am seeing more and more that Tyreek Hill is the wide receiver 1 there. Now, in saying that, I think that Patrick Mahomes is a decent quarterback. Our writer FF Stompy has been on him for a while, so shout out to him. Everybody's getting on this train, and I'm like, yo, dog, we've had people on this train. You got to start following us, at F3 Pod. We tweet out these awesome articles from our writers, and you should just read them because that would help you. And Patrick Mahomes is one of them. So I keep Sammy Watkins. I would go out and buy him if I can get him on as an add-on. If somebody's just really upset that they think it's just Tyreek Hill. Speaking of, we had somebody tweeted at us and was like, "Do you want to trade DeAndre Hopkins for Tyreek Hill and a little extra?" Here's my response to this because this is questions, and I love these questions. And so for the person that sent this out to us, thank you. I don't buy players at a high stock price and sell players at a low stock price.
And you're basically Tyreek Hill is at an all-time high.
Oh, he's at his all-time high. I mean,
and DeAndre Hopkins is at an all-time low. And DeAndre Hopkins has been at the same level Tyreek Hill has, and Tyreek Hill has been lower.
Do not overcorrect. Don't do that because listen, Tyreek Hill has looked great. I mean, there is nothing disparaging that. But I just worry. I mean, Tyreek Hill also had 8 targets, 7 receptions. Yes, for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's unsustainable.
But 8 targets, guys. Like once again, once we go back to volume versus touchdown dependent, I'm going to go with the volume of DeAndre Hopkins.
Would you
Especially
sell
with Fuller out?
Would you sell Tyreek Hill for DeAndre Hopkins? Just straight up.
Yeah, if I
Okay.
trade it, I would trade my Tyreek Hill for DeAndre Hopkins. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just asking.
All right.
So that's a few
Other
duds.
duds. Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Injured. I mean, that's part of the fun. I mean,
I don't know what to do about him anymore. I want him to be good, but he won't. Why won't you work?
do what you're supposed to do.
No, it's that stick where they're like pushing the rock. Like, do something.
Alfred Morris.
He was.
Didn't see him.
I saw him fumble twice.
That is true. DJ Moore left, but he was also a stolen stash. I wanted to see how the Carolina Panthers. I think part of that was due to the Cowboys. Alan Hearns, Michael Gallup, whole group. Dak Prescott. Let's talk about that. Dak Prescott did not do well. Final is like 8.5 points, 8.7, depending on what your format was. Are you worried about Dak? I mean,
if he does this for 3 games, I am very worried.
I mean, everybody
He
talks
did
about
this
how
at the
bad
end of
Matt
last
Ryan
year.
looked, how bad. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger threw 3 interceptions and still beat him out. I mean, we talked about Deshaun Watson look a little lost. Me and Jonathan off air, we're talking about how Deshaun Watson looks a little rough. Still did better than that. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and
Mitchell Trubisky, for the love of everything.
The way Dak Prescott has won games is by running, and he rushed 5 times for 19 yards. That's really not enough
Alex
to up
Smith.
his value. He doesn't throw the ball that much.
Alex
he's
Smith
all
scored
about
more
running.
than double the points of Dak Prescott this week.
All right, we're worried. I get it. We're worried.
All right.
Again, it's if he
I'm
does
not. I'm not buying him because at
No.
the end of the day, even if I see him go up, I've said this before 100 times. Why would you draft? Blake Bortles is almost the same player to me now. I mean, it really is. Like, I know it's bad to say, and people are going to get upset, but Blake Bortles always sneaks into the top 12. Dak's right around there too. They both have interesting wide receiver positions. I mean, I've said it 100 times. I can stream bums for what I'm getting out of Dak Prescott, really.
Jonathan, do you have anything to say? Don't want to talk about it?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have anything to say. I mean, he did bad.
All right. So
he did it no good.
So what would you buy Jay Ajayi for at this point? What comparable running back would you give for him, or wide receiver?
Lindsay? I don't know. I mean, here's the thing with Jay Ajayi. I know I threw a lot of shade on him, and maybe it was a little too much. I will admit that. However, 2 touchdowns to me is just not sustainable. 2 touchdowns.
My problem, he did not catch a single pass. He was not targeted.
And I know the coach is saying, well, we're going to use him more, but Darren Sproles was taking a lot of snaps, and he looked good doing it. And I've talked about this on the offseason all year, and everybody's like, no, Darren Sproles is so old. They're going to use him. Listen, they signed him for a reason. He's on a 1-year contract. Like, they didn't – I just people I would probably try to get for James for Jay Ajayi, I don't know. It would be somebody else. That's the problem is I feel like he is a high price right now, and I could be wrong. But to me, it's like,
So what do you think is fair? What do you think is a fair price for Jay Ajayi in your mind? Not in the stock market, in your mind.
I might be interested in Tevin Coleman just
Okay.
because, but that's also, I don't know what Freeman's knee's like. But if people are believing that Freeman's going to be out for a while and you are not, that may be something interesting.
Would you rather have Derrick Henry or Jay Ajayi?
Ooh.
Derrick Henry.
I'll go Jay.
Okay.
Just because.
In my mind, that was a comparable.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think that's about where I'm at with them. Everybody else, I'm kind of like in that. If I sent it to you, I'd be lowballing you.
Yeah.
Or if I sent it to you, I wouldn't like the trade. I think here's an interesting question: Adrian Peterson or Jay Ajayi? Rest of the season.
Don't do that to me.
What do you got, John?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Adrian Peterson.
Sure. I mean, whatever.
Sure.
Okay,
All right,
I'll go with Jay just because I worry about Chris Thompson getting more. I don't know. I just worry about
Old
his
man
body,
AP.
but old man,
Old man AP.
it's close. But yeah,
So let's get into the waivers, and there's a few. Week one's pretty interesting because people come out of the woodworks. You're like, okay, we finally found this team's game plan. What's up?
Yep.
We saw Philip Lindsay.
And by the way, we're going to do waivers in Fab. And maybe we'll also mention about who we would put before them. If you're not a Fab system, let's say you go by rankings. You know what I'm saying? Like you got one spot, and then, the old school way of waivers. So we'll do it percentages, right? Because there's some people who do like $100 in Fab, others do like 1,000. It always throws me off because I'll see like waivers ran. Someone spent $200. That was like $200.
That's everything I have.
It's like, oh my, and I'm like, oh yeah, my bad.
So, yeah, Philip Lindsay had a fantastic game. Did better than Royce Freeman, who we thought was going to start. How do you see him going forward? And I guess we've already kind of talked about that, but what do you want to spend on him? Is he someone you're going to use all season money?
Here's what I worry about. I'll just say it. I worry about the Tariq Cohen effect. I think that he has a role, but I worry about, remember this time last year, Tariq Cohen blew it up. Just out of nowhere. Just surprise. And he was that pass-catching role, and he had some good in-between-the-tackles runs.
Yeah.
And he just kind of faded. Now, a lot of that could have been due to John Fox. I mean, we saw Sunday night when the Bears and the Packers played, Tariq Cohen looked pretty good and was taking some more carries. I think that Lindsey has a role, but I worry that he's not going to be worth what someone's going to pay in the Fab. I mean, maybe I'm wrong,
and that's my
but
opinion.
I can see somebody paying a lot. I mean, what percentage of your Fab would you spend on
I
them?
bet someone's going to pay 80%. I
That's
don't
a
feel
lot.
comfortable spending that much.
Would you spend half your Fab on them?
Depending on my team, yeah. Depending.
John?
If I needed a running back, I'd be
No.
tempted
I'm
to.
more of the 33%. That's where I feel comfortable because at that point I feel like I've used a third of it. Sure. I have another 2/3 to play around with. One for another big guy if something happens.
Yeah.
And then
And,
to piddle paddle around with.
what I'm looking, the other running back on here that we're looking at, T.J. Yeldon and Adrian Peterson.
And T.J. Yeldon.
Yeah, T.J. Yeldon though is a handcuff.
But
Is
right
he-
now
is
we
he
don't know
gonna
if
play?
Fournette. We don't know if Fournette's playing.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot on T.J. Yeldon because he's more of a question mark to me.
Okay, so I don't. Adrian
Lindsey.
Peterson may not be on your waiver wire,
Yeah,
but
I hope
let's
he's
suppose
not, but-
he is. What do you put those? What order? I mean, I would do
Adrian
AP.
Peterson, Philip Lindsay, T.J. Yeldon.
That's what I would do. Okay. So, I mean, now if AP is for some reason on your waiver wire, how much are you spending?
I don't. If I need a running back,
Yeah, I mean, you're the
if I-
Jerry McKinnon owner. I mean, life sucks right
I'm
now.
spending some money
50%,
more.
60%.
I'd be comfortable with that.
Okay.
If I'm a Jared McKinnon owner, I drafted him, guessing third, fourth round. I'm out of running back.
Yeah, it hurts.
My third running back is crap, and I have to play two.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Eckler's interesting. Do you want Eckler above any of those guys?
Where is he?
Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh
Eckler,
yeah.
the running back?
I don't want him more. He's more of a stash.
What I worry about.
He's
what I
if you're-
worry about
if
with
you're a
Eckler.
if you're a Gordon owner, you need him.
5 targets, 5 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Austin Eckler also only had 5 rushing attempts for 39 yards, which is fantastic. But him and Gordon just
They're not
ate
gonna split.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost worry about they were doing
this
so
is more
well.
Of
Do we
Eckler
just
showed he's good.
Yes.
And now he
Yes.
has proved he is the
And
handcuff to Gordon.
in a dynasty, I'm not going to go out and buy him now. I'm going to wait for him to cool off a little bit, but I want to go get him because I could see what if he goes somewhere else.
I mean, Gordon will get injured at some point, and Eckler will step in, and we know Eckler can play.
But I mean, if Eckler is in the shadow of Melvin Gordon in dynasty, let's say he moves on next year, or the year before, year after. I mean, that he could be interesting.
Yeah.
A little dynasty note.
Geronimo Allison is someone I wanted to talk about. Plays for the Packers.
I'd rather get Cobb.
He played 70% of the snaps with 8
That's true.
targets, which became 5 receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown. What interests me is he played 70 snaps with the wide receivers they had, and Devontae Adams and Cobb and Jimmy Graham, all of those guys. This guy played 70% of the snaps, and he got 5 receptions. I mean, that's not bad. Again, he's a waiver wire, so more than likely he would be your flex play.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, other people on here, though, that's my issue with Geronimo Allison. If I'm talking about wide receivers, I'm seeing people like Tyler Lockett, Brandon Marshall, Dante Pettis. All these are wide receivers I think I put above him.
Would you take Chris Godwin or Geronimo Allison?
I think Godwin.
What about Mike Williams? He did okay with the Los Angeles Chargers this weekend.
I will go with Mike there, and the reason I want to go with Mike is because I think that Geronimo Allison's going to have games, but I think that at the end of the day, I still think Cobb is that number 2 option. I think Jimmy Graham was just non-existent. I think that realistically, Geronimo Allison may be the 4th option on that team. And yes, it's the 4th option for Aaron Rodgers, granite. The stone. But I don't know. I just,
Yeah, with Chris Godwin, I just want to put this out there. The Bucs have never done this in the past, 15 years. So don't expect 3 wide receivers to be fed.
Yeah. And, I mean, Deshaun Jackson's also in that mix, too.
Yeah, they both got – Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans both got over 140 yards.
Do you want Deshaun Jackson or Chris Godwin?
In Dynasty, Godwin. In redraft, Deshaun Jackson.
Okay. Well, so let's just put these in order, then, these wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Marshall, Dante Pettis, Geronimo Allison, Chris Godwin. I know it's a lot, but I mean, there's a lot of good pickups. I mean, when you start talking about Doug Baldwin going down, I mean that hurts you.
And another interesting people are talking about picking up George Kittle. Yes, if you're not going to stream tight ends.
100%, guys. Listen, do you know how many tight ends sucked this weekend?
A lot.
Like if you didn't play Jordan Reed or Rob Gronkowski, you might as well just not played anyone.
Travis Kelce got 1.1 points for me.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham did too. I mean, it was a smorgasbord of poop. Trey Burton got almost nothing.
Someone to look at. I don't know if I'd take him yet. Will Dissly for the Seahawks. 3 receptions, almost 100 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, no, I mean but this is going to be if I were you, this will be the year that you need to start figuring out what you're going to do at the tight end position because there are a bunch just pooping their pants.
Yeah,
and I'm just a lot are going down. I mean, you got to think. Delaney Walker got hurt. Jordan Reed will get hurt. I mean,
it will happen.
I mean, the tight end position is. I mean, Evan Ingram pooped his pants.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he did not look good. Actually, he did look good. He looked really good. They took back a play.
They had one good play.
Yeah, and they took it back because of some kind of holding or something. I don't remember, but so no. But I mean, so let's talk about. Let's just name this. What are your top 3 wide receivers? If you're going into this waiver wire, who are your 3 wide receivers that you're like, and put them in order? Because I'm picking up Kittle if I can. He shouldn't be on your waiver.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely pick up Kittle because, I mean, tight ends are just hard to find.
Yeah, but outside of tight ends, wide receiver-wise, you have all of these. Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Marshall, Dante Pettis, Mike Williams, Geronimo Allison, Deshaun Jackson, and
is my number
Chris
1.
Godwin. Really?
I mean,
okay.
So just out of those, I can't pick anymore?
Just pick 3.
Out of those?
Yeah.
Des Bryant.
Oh, yeah, you got somebody else.
Yeah.
Tell the folks.
I would probably have to go.
We're not here for secrets, Jonathan.
Philip Dorsett would probably be my number 1.
Yeah, there is Philip. I forgot about him.
Ted Ginn would probably be my number 2.
Is Ted Ginn on waivers?
I would say so.
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, and then after that, I really like Geronimo Allison. I mean, I don't know he would be the 3rd guy. I don't know in what area, barring injury. If Randall Cobb got hurt,
yeah,
Geronimo Allison is
his value skyrockets.
Yeah, but also too, let's keep in mind Geronimo Allison's most of his points also came off of just 1 drive. I literally was watching the game and he goes Geronimo Allison, Geronimo Allison, Geronimo Allison. Took a break and then threw it to him in the end zone. I mean, so I don't know, but my number 1 is definitely Philip Dorsett.
Yeah, if he's on your waivers, I would definitely get him. He moves up. Week.
What do you have?
I'll say this though.
Points?
I think that Hogan makes a little bit more of a bounce back. And I would say this: watch your waiver wires and see if somebody drops Chris Hogan because of how terrible he did.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I think I'll
up.
just say this: I think Pettis is up there for me because if Marquise Goodwin is missing time, you've got a good combination for Pettis, and the fact that Deshaun Jackson was not had 2 targets or something. Not Deshaun Jackson. I'm sorry, Pierre Garçon.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Pierre Garçon had literally 2 targets.
No, really, no one.
And they played the Minnesota Vikings. They're a good defense, guys. I'm sorry. And even then, he was still fantasy relevant. Pettis had 5 targets, 2 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Now, I mean, once again, but I can see the volume going up. I can see if he can get separation. He is a rookie. I really like Pettis. I also really like Lockett and Marshall. I mean, if Doug Baldwin misses time, Russell Wilson has to throw the ball to someone.
Brandon Marshall.
It has to be one of those guys. That to me, those are the pickups.
To me, I just see Brandon
because of
Marshall
volume.
filling Doug Baldwin's role more than I see Tyler Lockett moving.
I love
into
Philip
Doug Baldwin's
Dorsett, but I
position.
just worry that what about next week if it's Chris Hogan? That's what I'm worried about because I think that they have more talent on the Patriots. So Brady's just going to throw it to who's open. And last week was Philip Dorsett. Credit to him. But I just worry about it's a flavor of the week with the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Where with Seattle, they have to throw to somebody. Someone will be a wide receiver.
What if they
A
feed
good wide
everyone?
receiver by default. I mean, Brandon Marshall and Tyler Lockett played good. Tyler Lockett had 75 yards and a touchdown on 4 receptions. I mean, yeah, it's not the volume you're looking for, but I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you could risk it on Philip Dorsett. I think that's a very possible risk. The only problem with that, the same problem with these guys. Edelman's going to come back. Doug Baldwin's eventually going to come back. So,
yeah.
These are beginning of the season risks.
So all right, guys. Well,
yeah,
that basically does a recap. Guys, be sure to check out our next episode. It'll be dropping on Thursday. This will be our starts and our sits and all of the other good stuff that we have. And also on Sundays, be sure to check out our Periscope. We'll be going live. Is it 8 or 8:30, John?
8.
8. At 8 o'clock. At
Central Standard Time.
So 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We did that last week. We had a lot of involvement. Thank you all, franchise. 100% you all. That was a lot of fun. Great questions. Tough questions. Really. I mean, they really were. I did it last time. We had a great turnout. I want to see it grow. Keep it going, baby. Keep this good time rolling.
We're going to end a good time. I'm parking the train.
Dude, I'm going to go home and be Spider-Man.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. And follow us at F3 Pod.
I hate you.
Trap. I do all the sound effects.